Good evening, everybody. We are so happy to see all of you, those who are joining us via Zoom and those who are watching us on Facebook. Welcome to the English Without Borders Thursday webinar series. And with great pleasure and with such a big joy, I'm really happy to welcome Laura Holland, who has become one of the favorite speakers of the English Without Borders network. And welcome, Laura. It's so nice to see you. And today, Laura will be talking about, let's talk about homework for listening and speaking classes. So this is something which is very exciting. And let me briefly introduce Laura. Laura G. Holland teaches English language and teacher training courses at the University of Oregon, where she is also a faculty mentor and teaching assistant supervisor. She's the external reviewer of the BNC in Northern Peru, and she has published numerous articles and co-authored the teacher training guidebook, Shaping the Way We Teach English, From Observation to Action, published by the U.S. Department of State in 2013. Her special interests include teaching oral communication skills, incorporating authentic materials into classes, online professional development with international teachers, mentoring and supervision, and classroom observation for training and professional development purposes. Throughout the pandemic, she has delivered online training workshops and webinars for teachers around the globe. Once again, welcome to the English Without Borders Network, Laura, and I'm giving the floor to you. Thank you very much. Dear audience, please stay active and ask your questions to our speaker using the chat box and the comment box on Facebook. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear Nasiba. So yes, I'm so excited to be here. Two quick notes about this new presentation. This is a brand new presentation, hot off the presses, as we say. I gave it last week in Costa Rica for the first time ever. So this is, I could see how it's going. So I'm very excited for you to please participate throughout the evening for you, very early morning for me here. Throughout the evening, what I'd like you to do is, as you're watching some of these videos, and I'm giving homework assignments, which you will see me giving videos of. So it's going to be me and me talking to you today, two different Lauras are allowed us to talk. Hello to everybody. So please be active in the chat and talk about, what are you noticing? What are the little pieces that I'm trying to achieve? Because it's not just giving the homework. There are so many other things that I really, really want to try to achieve. Good evening, everybody. So with that, let me share my screen. Can you see my PowerPoint? Oops. Except that I need to do the slideshow, sorry.
Yes, we can see that, Laura. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. There we go. Now I've got it all set up straight. All right, so let's talk about homework to promote speaking and listening skills. So I'm gonna just jump right in again. So here's my introduction and my rationale. I always give a rationale. And in fact, with my students, I always tell them why we're doing something. I give a rationale to everybody all the time. For students, I'll say things like, and the reason we're doing this is to help promote your speaking or your listening or your reading, writing, whatever. I find that students really appreciate it. And especially if you're having any students who are kind of challenging in one way or another, it really helps when we tell them why we're doing something. Then they think, oh, okay, great. So when it comes to the homework for speaking and listening classes, unfortunately, one of the things I've observed many times, I observe a lot of teachers as part of my work all the time, is that when it comes to the homework, we kind of default back to reading and writing skills. So we may have them listening about something and then write a paragraph about it. And that's okay, nothing wrong with that, except if we want to be promoting listening, speaking skills, shouldn't we have them speaking about what they listened to instead of doing more writing? They get a lot of writing in their writing and reading classes. So we want to make sure that we're giving lots of opportunities for them to also be practicing their listening, speaking skills. And students consistently report that they need more practice. They aren't getting enough practice with listening and speaking for all of these, both inside class and outside of class. And they say that they need more practice. So today, I'm going to share some of the ideas that I've used over the last many years, but in particular, many of these are going to come from one class that I taught last spring, and I'll tell you about it in a moment. It was a pandemic class for sure, online, of course, and my students were actually all over the world. My Chinese students, for example, were taking the class in the middle of the night between 1 and 3 in the morning. And so it was challenging. Now, we had one class, this one in particular was online, but it was one class. Our numbers, our enrollment went down so far during the early part of the pandemic that in the springtime, we only had enough students to have one class of each topic. So we had one grammar class for all the levels, one reading writing class, and one speaking listening class. So I was the speaking listening teacher, one class, levels 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all in one class, which sometimes we've had 3 and 4 or 5 and 6, but I've never had levels 3 through 7. And it was supposed to be 2 through 7, but the level 2 student tested into level 3, so that helped. But that was really challenging. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? But it worked out actually pretty well. Now, on the very last video of the term, when my students were making their videos, because they made videos every week, 2 and sometimes 3 videos for me every single week, more than 75% of them said, oh, I'm so sad. This is my last homework assignment. And I have to say, I will confess, I've been teaching a long time. And my thought was, when has any teacher in the history of the universe ever heard these words before? I never heard these words before. I'm so sad. This is my last homework assignment. So that's what inspired me to create this presentation, because I had so much fun creating homework assignments for this class and for other classes, of course, too. And I'm going to share them with you. So I'm going to give a little bit of context, though, in the following slides. So what I want you to be thinking about, and we'll talk about, are in the following examples. Oops, let's move this over again. Think about the content of the homework, right? So what are we asking them to do? What's achieved with this assignment? Okay, so these are the things I'm going to ask you to comment on in the chat as you see the videos that I've made for my students. So how does this help meet my course objectives? What is achieved in the way that I'm assigning it? And any other objectives that you note that I might be achieving with these ideas. And then also be thinking, about how you can adapt these ideas to your context, right? Because I created these for my context with the tools that I have available at my university. But you might be teaching in a completely different situation and not have these tools. So you will want to think about how to adapt these ideas to your particular context. Now, just a few quick overview of some of the possibilities, and then think about how this compares to your setting. So grammar, for example, discovery learning and the flipped learning model are becoming very, very popular across the globe. Teachers are using this all the way, and it's a really great way to use for homework. So rather than introducing a new grammar point in class for the first time, a lot of times what we can do is the grammar box. We assign that for homework, and then some sentences, some exercises, and different ways that students can dive into that. Well, what's the advantage of doing that at home first instead of doing it in class first? So some of our students, right, we all have these students, the 4 or 5 students who they're gonna get it. They just get it, boom, 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 boom. They get it on the first try in class, right? But students like me, okay, I do better if I get it at home first, where I can read it over slowly. I'm not distracted by the class or anything else. I can read it 4 times, 5 times, 6 times if I need to. So this is really useful. And then students can do all this preparation at home. And then we come back to class and add it and then put it into action and have them communicate and use these tools. So this is one really excellent use of homework, okay? Introduce some new topics and give them some practice with it on their own time, and they can choose how much time they need to be able to absorb it. Or we can re-listen to something that we did already in class. Like, so on Tuesday, we listened to a little, either a lecture or some sort of any kind of video. And then I put it on my course website and they can listen again and again. And then I have them do something new with the same material. So this allows us to recycle the material, and really they get a much stronger feel for what we're doing. I think sometimes as teachers, we move on very quickly and we don't recycle as much as we need to. Or we can pre-listen to something that we're going to later in class use as a springboard for discussion or different activities, like agree and disagree activities. So maybe I'll have them listen to something first, think about and formulate their opinions, and then we'll the next day use that in class for various activities. This is where we introduce our extensive listening program also. We have extensive reading and extensive listening in all of these classes. So the extensive listening means they choose something to listen to and then talk about it. I want them to do this every day, but about 2 or 3 times a week, I have them making a brief 1-minute or 2-minute video about what they listened to or watched. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then preparation for the speeches. And we have 2 kinds of speeches in my classes. One are the impromptu, where they don't prepare at home. They're given a question and 1 minute to prepare in class, and then boom, they talk. But these I'm talking about for the prepared speeches, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. And then practice for how to ask follow-up questions, which is something we do a lot of. So just quickly, what is in my syllabus that I'm designing my homework for? So this is useful for you just to know the context of what I was designing for. So don't worry about all this. You don't have to read all this. This is just to show you what they're seeing and what I'm working towards. So I use kind of a backward design process. So this is what the outcomes are going to be, and the outcomes are later too. So then everything I create in my class needs to work towards these activities. So we're going to have daily classroom discussions on academic and general topics. We're going to listen to academic lectures and discussions, storytelling, impromptu speaking, brief prepared presentations, and basically all listening skills. Right? So that's just kind of what we're working towards. And then here are the outcomes. And these are all things they get on the first day in the course description I send them. So by the end of the class, you should be able to do everything on the list. Okay, so it's accurately use the appropriate grammatical structure, various vocabulary, general vocabulary and academic word lists, fluency, speaking extemporaneously, meaning spontaneously with no preparation ahead, identifying main ideas, details, relationships between ideas, that sort of thing, and reporting main ideas and new words from fluency-focused listening activities. And then the grading, just listening and note-taking is 30% of our class, speeches and academic discussions, 30%, the assignments, which include the listening log, are 20%, and presentations. So here's one question that we can ask ourselves. I have them making 1 to 2 minute videos. And that's it, pretty much the whole term. Towards the end of the term, some of the higher level students, I might ask them to speak for 3 or 4 minutes. But are 1 to 2 minute videos enough for us to give them effective feedback? And the answer is absolutely yes, 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 yes. Okay, it really is. A minute is a long time, actually. And 1 to 2 minutes is very manageable for the students. They feel like it's like, okay, I can speak for a minute. You know, I don't do this for my level 0 students. My absolute novice students, I might say 30 seconds, okay? Talk for 30 seconds. But for everybody else, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 to 2 minutes is manageable. They can do it. And it gives me plenty of language of their language to work with without becoming overwhelming, because I don't want to kill myself either, right? And if we can't listen to 10 minutes from every single student, or we won't have any time. And at my university, my course website has a tool called Speed Grader, and it allows me to listen to the videos and type answers right into a box that then when I hit submit, it goes directly to the students. So that's a great tool that we have that I take advantage of. But we didn't always have that. We used to use a different system. So if you don't have anything like that in your program, you could just take notes, listen to the video, and type on a Word doc. That's what I used to do too. Or create a rubric and type on the rubric. Okay, that's another possibility. And the assignments that I'm going to share all encouraged just incredibly creative and unique responses to each assignment. And so what's the value of that? One, the students were super motivated. And two, the students were very motivated. There we go. Hold on, I'm just going to mute that person. And the second thing is it was motivating for me because I could really hear, I could hear their excitement, and I got to learn more about them and their interests and their tastes and just what makes each student individual and unique. So it was really fun. So let's jump in now. And this was my first homework assignment. And again, now you can please use the chat while you're watching videos. And what do I accomplish with this video? There will be obvious things, but also think of other pieces of it and try to note as many areas as we can. Hi, everybody. All right, welcome, welcome to Speaking Listening, whether you are in level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, or level 7. We are all in the same group together. We also have 4 interns who some of you met on Thursday, and you will get to meet again on Monday. Here's your homework. Please choose something to listen to or to watch this weekend before Monday. Okay, it can be anything, but please make it something that is a little bit challenging for you. Maybe a TED Talk or a news program or a podcast or a song or a movie, a TV show, an audiobook, really anything at all. Just listen and watch something or read it, but listen. And then be ready to talk in class, in a group, in a small group, and tell your partners, 1, what was it about? So what was the main idea? Give a summary, a little summary in English. What was especially interesting to you? Give 3 details. So you will tell us what you watched, tell us a little bit about it, and then 3 interesting things that you learned in there, 3 details. Okay? And then I'm also going to send you in a different email your course description for your level. I will post them on Canvas, which I am just about to open now because everybody is now registered. So email me with any questions. See you Monday. So this was posted on our homework site and or on our course website. And so please think about what were the kinds of things. This is their day one. Some of them were my students before and I knew them, but some of them were new students who never knew me before and are maybe a little afraid about what to expect in this online education. Oh my gosh, so think about and go ahead and put in the chat. I'm going to continue on, but as you're listening, what am I accomplishing with all of these assignments? Oops. Okay. So, and just quickly don't worry about reading all this. And for every video, I also do give written support. So think about why is that useful, and you can put that in the chat as well. What's useful about this and why? So this is the visual support that goes with the audio, okay? And a lot of times it's just basically what I said. So feel free to go ahead and put in the chat what you think I might be working for or trying to accomplish here. Let's see. And I'm going to keep on moving. Oh, and this is what it actually looks like in my course website. So down below is the video, and then here is the written support. Here's another assignment. So this were guided instructions for how to post their own videos, and then preparation for an upcoming video in class on the topic of same and different. So for example, in class, we were going to listen to a lecture from one of the textbooks on the topic of same and different. So my homework assignment then was to prepare them, kind of get them warmed up and thinking about this idea about same and different. Now, what they were going to listen to in class was an academic lecture, but what I was using was them just personal topics to get their brains warmed up on this idea of same and different. Hi, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Eugene. As you can see, I am outside enjoying the beautiful afternoon. Here's your homework for Tuesday. I want you to make a 1-minute video on Canvas. Okay, if you've been my student before, you know the 1-minute videos. I find them very useful and to see what areas you need to work on. So make me a 1-minute video, and the theme is same, different. So you're going to compare things. What is something that is the same and different? And it could be anything. So you can talk about you. How are you the same or different as you were 1 year ago, for example? Or from the same or different from when you were a child. How are you the same and how are you different? I want you to talk about both in whatever your topic. Or how are you the same or different as your brother or sister or your parents or your children? It can also be, it doesn't have to be about you. It could be about your town or the city that you live in or cultural expectations or the climate or whatever is really interesting for you. Your job is to make it interesting. Talk for 1 minute. Please don't write and read, only speak. Okay, that's what these videos are for, only speaking. Please don't read to me. This is not a reading class. All right, and I will describe this in class tomorrow, so if you have any questions, you can ask me them. And post your video on Canvas, please. Okay, see you tomorrow. So, not only am I giving homework assignment on this, right? But it's also lessons in it's modeling intonation and pronunciation. And it's fine if you are not a native speaker. You still are the teacher, so you can be modeling your pronunciation and intonation. There's vocabulary in there that I'm introducing. Comments about the weather and also just my surroundings. And so I try to make them conversational so that I'm actually speaking to them. Okay, here's another one. What techniques am I using here and what sorts of information am I using? What else do you notice? So you can put your answers in the chat. Hi, everybody. Okay, here is your homework for Thursday. Please prepare 2 or 3 discussion questions to use in your group. And remember that a discussion question is one that starts a discussion, so not informal conversation, but a discussion on an important topic. Then also please start a listening log. So that's just a little notebook or diary or a place you keep your notes. It can be a file on your computer. What did you watch or listen to that day? I want you to listen to something in English every single day and then just keep a note of what you did. Just what did you listen to? And you don't even have to note too much about it. Sometimes I will ask you to talk more about it. Just add to it every single day. And then for Thursday, please listen to anything. Again, a newscast or a TV show, a news report, a song, a movie, anything in English, and make a 1-minute video about why you liked it or didn't like it and what it was about. And that's it. Okay. So this was more formal. They actually had already done one extensive listening assignment over the weekend, but for the first one, I just had them preparing it to be able to talk in class. So I didn't have them producing anything until they got to class, and then they had a discussion about it, and they told their group about what they watched or listened to. But this one was the first formal one, and they do this almost every day, but they would do videos 2 or usually about 2, sometimes 3 times a week on these. But again, 1-minute videos. So go ahead and we can do like a little boom chat thing here. Please go ahead and think about, why do I make these videos for my students when I'm also writing out the instructions? Okay, why? What's my purpose? What am I doing there? What do I achieve by doing this? And then you can actually go ahead and write and hit send anytime now. Go ahead and put your answers in there. I'd love to see what some of you think about why I am doing this. But because time is short, I'm going to continue on. If you put something in the chat, I will read it out loud in a bit. And then we'll discuss it using the chat. So here now, this was the presentation for their, this was the assignment for their preparation for the first presentation, the formal prepared talk that they were giving in class. Hi, everybody. Here is your homework for Thursday. And it's going to be a little bit different, so read and listen carefully. I'm going to ask you to prepare a 1 to 2 minute talk, not a video this time, a talk that you are going to give in class. Now, I know this will make some of you nervous. Just do your best. If you're in level 3, do level 3 work. If you're in level 5, do level 5 work, okay? I'm not comparing you to each other, only to yourselves. So prepare a 1 to 2 minute talk to give in class on Thursday. Bring a picture, one picture to help guide it. If you can turn on your camera and show it to us or share the screen, that will be great. But if not, you can send me the picture on chat or an email if you send it by Wednesday. But I need it Wednesday afternoon if you're going to send it to me by email. Do not send it to me Thursday morning. I won't get it because I'll be in class early. You can use a few notes, just a few words, but please don't read. This isn't reading class. This is not reading a speech. This is speaking, right? So this is just to practice your speaking. Just do the best you can, and here are the topics you can choose. Choose one of these. Either use the past tense and talk about a great trip that you took sometime. Some of you have already done this for me in another class. Or you can use conditionals or future and talk about, what do you want to do if and when the pandemic is over? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What are you going to do? Okay, so that's your talk. Just talk for 1 minute or up to 2 minutes, no more. and we'll just see how your speaking is going. And use a picture to help guide your talk. That's it. Okay, Firuz, yes, I love what you wrote here. So Firuz writes, I want them to see the life of American people, their gestures, and improve their listening. So that is definitely part of my purpose. But you wouldn't have that because you're not American, but that doesn't matter because if you are a teacher, you are a really great model of showing our students what they can achieve. So that's an advantage that you have as a non-native speaking teacher. And I think it's really important for non-native speaking teachers to realize that that's one of your superpowers that you have, is being a great model to show your students what they can achieve. And it is, my students do say that these are very motivating. And also they say that they like it because they get to know me a little bit better. And I would say too, this was the best success I had so far with people not being too nervous. They came in and they weren't all that nervous about doing their presentations in class. A lot, sometimes students were saying they had to sit down, their hearts were beating too fast, they were, oh, I didn't sleep last night. So I don't want them to be afraid or terrified. This is just an opportunity. So I do a lot. One of the things that I can do is to help calm their nerves when I talk to them directly. And I can just smile and let them know that I'm not comparing them to level 7 students and that they're only in competition with themselves. Let's see. And Thru says, in this case, I make them think that if I learned, then you can learn and speak like the teacher. Exactly my point too. Right. I love that. And so just again, keep thinking about what else I accomplished. So here's another example. Hi again, everybody. Long time no see. You just left class a moment ago. All right, here is your homework for Monday. 2 things I want you to do. Oops, 2. And I know it's a video, another video, which is my best way of collecting good samples for you for your homework. But if it's a problem, we can work together to see if you can find other ways to send me the videos. If Canvas is not working with your bandwidth or your system. Okay, so you're going to make one video, but it has 2 parts to it. So the first part will be that I want you to think about somebody who you might like to mentor or to help support. We've been talking all about supporting people this week, and Mr. Jensen really helped mentor and support and change Clint's life, the drummer, right? Wow. Very inspiring story. And I know many of you have inspiring stories like that too. Or who would you like to mentor you? So, for example, I really want to learn how to bend the ball the football when I'm kicking it, just like David Beckham, right? So I would love it if David Beckham could teach me how to bend the ball so that it goes whoosh into the goal. All right, so that's the first part. And then the second part is just short. Teach me how to say something beautiful in your language. Tell it to me in your language so I can hear you saying it, and then tell me more or less what it means in English so that I can really practice and learn something from your language. I want to learn something from you. You teach me for this part too. And then I just quickly want to say, not homework, but just to talk about your tests today. I'm really proud of you. You have all been working really hard every day, and you're putting the pieces together. You put the pieces together just perfectly, beautifully. So I will give you a couple little suggestions when I go to put the grades in, but the grades are 50 out of 50 for everybody. You got an individual score and a group score, and you all did so well. Have a wonderful weekend, my friends. Stay safe, take care, wear a mask, wash your hands. We love you. So that video had a lot of different things in it. And hello from Colombia. That one had a lot of different things in it. So not only did I have 2 different parts to the assignment, but I love giving them homework assignments where they teach me something in their language. It ends up becoming an opportunity when we put our students in the position of being teacher. It changes the dynamic and it makes them grab so much more responsibility. It becomes an opportunity for me to model being a good learner. So part of their feedback, I made them videos. Instead of just giving them typed written feedback, I gave them videos I made for each person, just talking a little bit about their pronunciation or whatever. But then at the end, I practiced saying what they taught me. And I said, okay, now you give me a score. And then they gave me feedback on it in class and talked about it. And it was really fun. And they taught me just some beautiful things in Arabic and Chinese and Japanese and Korean and Russian. And they taught me all these just wonderful, wonderful expressions and proverbs and or greetings. It was really, really fun. And then I also wanted to give them feedback. They were very nervous, even though they knew what their scores were. I told them what their scores were on their test. That was the first academic discussion skills test that we have. And there are 3 or 4 of them usually during the term. So this was after the first one. And hi again, everybody. You don't need to hear it again. But the theme was about mentoring and supporting people. That was the theme we were working on all week. And we used this Mr. Jensen video. Be a Mr. Jensen was the title of it. And then to teach me something beautiful in your language. I just love that, especially if you have students who speak other languages or, for example, speak an indigenous language. You can, or any language that they may have studied, have them teach you something. So it's great. Okay, so let's see. So again, just be thinking about what am I accomplishing with these? And we don't have to do this right now. I want to keep on moving, but just make any notes in the chat of what you're noticing about any individual assignments and what might you steal. What are you going to take and use? At the end, we'll talk about your takeaways. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought somebody was calling me. Okay, so this one, don't worry about all this language here. This is just the written instructions. Here was this one. Now, this one was so fun. Oh my gosh, this was really, really fun. Hello, everybody. All right, here is your homework for Monday. Yes, Monday. We're going to do something a little bit different this time, something we have never done in this class before. You are going to create your own holiday in your imagination, using your imagination. So here's my introduction. There are many beautiful holidays around the world. Ramadan is being celebrated right now by Muslims all over the globe. There's Spring Festival. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I think I will say it wrong. Chunje, maybe? But that's celebrated in China and I think in Korea, maybe. Spring Festival, that is the Persian version of that, the Persian holiday, also called Nowruz. There's Diwali, which is a Buddhist holiday, Sukkot, which is a Jewish festival, harvest festival, Vesak, which is a celebrates Buddha's birthday, I believe, Valentine's Day, and thousands more, of course. Some holidays are religious and full of prayer. Some are secular. Okay, you can look those words up. They're really good words for you to know. Some of them are very joyous and some are somber. Okay, look those words up too. So what is your assignment? I want you to think of your own holiday, create one. Don't tell me about a real holiday. Make up your own, create one. And use your imagination. prepare a 2-minute, 1 or 2-minute talk about it, and here are some of your guiding questions. When is it? Okay, what's the date or the dates? What month is it in? How do you celebrate it? What is the significance of it? Why is it important or special? Are there any special foods? How long does it last? What activities do you do? And then anything else that you would like to tell us all about it. And I want you to have some fun with this. Get creative and show us your creativity. Now, you also need to create at least one slide or picture, either way, to share to help guide your talk. So I will show you an example. I will post here an example of a picture that I have. My holiday, for example, is Wildflower Celebration Day. So for me, the wildflowers always bloom in the fields and in the mountains right at my most busy time in the spring for work. So I would like to have one day off, or maybe no, let's make it 3 days off so I could travel to some of the really good places to see wildflowers out either in the fields or in the mountains or near the coast or anywhere. And special foods, we will bring a picnic in a basket. Anybody can bring whatever kinds of foods they want to share. Lots of fresh things though, fresh vegetables and fruits because it's springtime. And you can go out with your family or with your friends and you don't have any work. You can bring some music with you and maybe dance in the fields. You can bring your dog if you have one. I would leave your cats at home. Okay, so that's my holiday. What do? We walk and we hike. We also go stand in the middle of fields and just listen. We don't talk. What's another activity? We sit down in the fields with the flowers and we take pictures. Okay, so you get the idea. Create it yourself. Don't tell me about a holiday that's real. Make up a new one. All right, that's it. And I just want to say they went to town on this. They created just the most amazing, wonderful presentations that everybody really loved. They were super motivated and really, really fun. I have done this one before with other classes in face-to-face, and it's in groups with my student teachers and my English conversation students. But this was the first time I had done it with my listening, speaking students. And it's great. Why? Oh, so somebody asked, Natya asks a really great question. Thank you. Please don't apologize. All questions are awesome. Why not just say this in the classroom? Why videos? It's just a different modality. I do say it in the classroom also when I'm giving the homework at the end of the day. So this is just more support and another opportunity to listen and more language input because I want to try to give them as much listening input as possible, but level appropriate. And because I have mixed levels sometimes, it's really tricky. So sometimes my level 3 students might really need to listen to something 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and maybe my level 5 or 6 or 7 students can, get it on the first time. So this way they can do what they need to do to be able to understand. Natya, that is a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. Okay, let's see. Here, I'm not going to play this video, but what this one was another listening log assignment, but this was in the second half of the term where I'm trying to challenge them and push them a little bit. So I gave a new requirement that was watch whatever they wanted to watch, and they were choosing fabulous. They were just choosing wonderful things every week, really challenging themselves. And they were noticing their own improvement every single week, which then, of course, made them more inspired and motivated to keep on going. But the new twist, the little challenge this time was, rather than speaking for 1 or 2 minutes, I said, you can use 3 great sentences. So tell me all about what you listened to, but you can only use 3 sentences. Now, there were a couple of students who used 4 or used 5, and that was fine. I didn't take off points for them, but it's really useful because it's a very hard skill to narrow everything down and to make it so that then they have to use their words very carefully. So it was a challenge, and they really did a great job on it. Oops. Okay, here's one that I do a lot of times. I do this every term where I want to get student input. And let's just go ahead and play that. Hi again, everybody. We just said goodbye a moment ago. Here is your homework for Thursday. Please make me a 1 or 2 minute video telling me what you would like to do in this class. What are we missing, or what is something you would like to try that we haven't tried yet? And the interns and I will try to come up with something. It could be activities. It could be, oh, more discussions, please, or more listening, or more blah, 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 blah. Let me know. Also, if you have any topics that you would really like to discuss, let's bring them in, okay? Now, if you are not going to be in class on Thursday because you are celebrating Eid Mubarak, please add to your video, make your video a little bit longer, and tell me about it. Tell me something about your Eid and your celebration. Share details. What were some highlights? Okay, highlights are the best parts. Like maybe, one highlight was I saw my best friend and I hugged her for the first time in a year. Or my village had a beautiful celebration. Normally we go to Riyadh, but this year we stayed in the village, and I was with friends and family, or framily, that funny little word. Okay, you get the idea. So that's all, and that will be for Thursday. And if you're missing class on Thursday, don't worry, it's fine. It will not be late. You can do it on the weekend after Eid, or before, either way. Okay. Hi again. So again, then I just ask them, and I do this around midterm or a little bit after, what do you want more of? I try to get student input, and they give great ideas. There are a couple of ideas later here that I'll show you. So what do you want more of? What's missing? What are some topics you would like to discuss? And then other student agency suggestions, right? So the more student agency that we help promote, the more motivated our students are going to be, and then they give us more to work with. It becomes just part of the learning cycle that's really healthy. So you can, think about what are some ways that you might try to promote student agency in your context, in your classes. Okay, I'm not going to play the video for this one because time is starting to run short, but please steal this idea. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. So this came up, one of our groups got off, they were in their group discussion, and they created this topic themselves about creating a time machine. And where and when would you go? And so it was so fun that we decided to give it as a homework assignment for everybody. And then they gave one of their presentations about this. So this was a student suggestion. It was super creative. And then I always try to give them guiding questions, because if we just say, write this or speak this, it could be very intimidating for some students. So I give them some guiding questions to answer to get them going. And then they can add other things of their own too. But the 5 senses are really useful for both speaking and for writing. So I might say for the trip, for example, the presentation about a trip, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you taste? Our favorite topics, right? The food. What did you smell? And how did it make you feel, for example? Or if I can also use the WH questions as guiding questions. So here they built a time machine, or they bought one, and they told me whether they did that or not. And then did they go into the past? Did they go into the future? And people were so creative about this. They ended up doing things like one guy, one of my Chinese students, was super into history. And so he decided he wanted to go back in time and visit an ancient Chinese empress who was kind of a warrior spirit. And so he wanted to talk to her and interview her and have dinner with her and all of that. So it was really exciting. Some students chose historical figures or cultural figures to go meet. And some people, there were several students who chose to meet, for example, their parents or grandparents, but go back in time and meet them when they were there, like in their 20s, and see what they were like then. So it was, oh my gosh, we were all just crying. Some of them were so beautiful, and all of them were really inspiring. So I want to make sure that we have time for questions, and let's see. How do you motivate reserved students who are very shy to make the videos and speak? I love that question. Taking into consideration cultural differences of your students, do you motivate them in a different way? Well, first of all, some of them, and some of my Muslim women, for example, who are not comfortable with making the videos with the camera on, I say that they can do it with the camera off. I ask them if they would be willing to do it just to me so that I can see what they're doing with their mouths. But I have a couple of students who, even though I had them in 5 or 6 different classes, they were all online, and I don't even know what they look like. And so that's okay too, because then I just get to know them through their words and their voice, and there's a lot we can still go on. I also just encourage people to do their best, and I always tell students, you are not in competition with anybody else in this room. All I expect of you, your job, is to make a lot of mistakes, learn from your mistakes, next week make new mistakes, right? And then, and don't compare yourself to anybody else. Even if you're in the same level, some people are better at speaking, some people are better at grammar, some people are better at writing. Everybody's got their strengths, and everybody has their areas they need to improve. And I find that all my students, I think when our attitude is really warm and engaging and inviting and encouraging, and when all of our feedback is specific, direct, and kind and encouraging, it sets the whole tone where they just become willing to take the risks that are necessary for language learning. So that's a fabulous question. Thank you, Nestiba, for asking that. They do. Shy, there you go. Not yet, exactly. So this is really wonderful. These videos are fabulous for the super shy students because they're only talking to me. And so even though the other students can watch them, they don't usually watch them. They're busy, right? So although one year I had a student who had a snake, a pet snake, and she used to make all of her videos with the snake around her neck. And this snake would be going up and around and doing everything. So everybody watched her videos because they were so amazing to watch this snake. Yeah, the time machine. Great. Okay, so let's see. I think we need to also just keep moving to questions. We had preparation for controversial topics, debates. So they prepared that. Let's see. Okay, Firuz is asking how to make students not cheat in the test. Well, that's not really part of this presentation. Even if the teacher tells them, just check your knowledge because this test is only for monitoring what you did. I like that question, but that's a little bit off topic for what we're talking about. I think different situations, okay, here's what I do about tests, about cheating, is I try to set an attitude of like, you're not cheating me, okay? I speak English already, and you could say that too. If you cheat, yeah, you might get a better grade on the test, but you're not going to be able to do this skill. So you really are only cheating yourself. And I try to have an honor system with everybody. And I try to say, just do your best. And even helping friends, in your culture, that might be something like, I know a lot of my Saudi students, they have to be, my Saudi students, they if somebody asks them for help, they're kind of culturally obligated to help them. So we have to really work with that, with the cheating thing, because helping your friend during a test will get you both in trouble. So we just explain all the rules ahead of time, and then we deal with individual situations as they come up. And then how do I assess? So these homework assignments, I tended to give them full credit for it if it was on time and they followed the requirements. And then what I do is I give them qualitative feedback. So I would give them maybe 20 points out of 20 for the score, because they did it on time. And then I'll take off points if it's late, or unless it was a tech problem because their bandwidth didn't work. And then I'm usually pretty easy about changing the grade for that, for the homework assignments. But then I just usually tell them, excuse me, sorry. Then I just give them maybe 3 or 4 bits of what are the most important things that they need to be working on. Is it a certain pronunciation? Is it a grammatical rule? Are they forgetting to use their past tenses, or are they using the past tense but not the right time markers? So I'll give them 3 or 4 pieces, suggestions, I call them. I don't call them improvements or corrections. I call them suggestions. And then I just have them trying that. Or if they keep making the same mistakes, I'll say, here's that same mistake again. Try for next time. Try to fix this in your next video. Okay, how are we at? Where are we at for time? Let's do that. Do we have more questions? If not, I can, let's see. Are there problems with these assignments that students might face? I chose to show you ones that were absolutely fabulously successful. So, and have I had, I think sometimes the only potential problem has been technology. So some students had some trouble with, especially the students in China, were having trouble sometimes uploading their videos to the Canvas site. So I would set up alternate ways that they could do, that they could use that. That they could submit their work. But they, besides technology, no, I haven't had any problems. They loved these assignments. And as I said in the beginning, at the end, they said, I'm so sad, this is my last one. So I never have heard those words before. Oop, we don't need that. Hello. Okay. So again, we were preparing for our academic discussion skills tests. They're having them write 3 strong questions. Oh, and then this was a student suggestion that came in. And so we had them just list 15 to 20 restaurant terms. And then the next week we planned a whole restaurant role play. So there were a couple students who asked to please practice working in an English speaking restaurant. So let's see, oh, this was just last suggestion. I just want to show this. This was another student suggestion. I'm not going to show the video that I did to give it, but here's what came from my students. So I posted this and they did this. They had so much fun with this. I am not on TikTok, so I did not know this about this, but one of my students did, and he did this for his assignment and said, we should do this in our class. So I did, and they had fun with this. This was very hard, very challenging. This was in the last week of class. In fact, I think it was one of our last assignments.
You pass the prompter test. I'm gonna roll the prompter as I normally would during a show and see if you can keep up. Let's go. Ready, set, go.
Now to the latest COVID-19 stories. Governor Gavin Newsom says the California Department of Public Health had administered 7.3 million vaccines.
Okay, so you get the idea about that. So there was, I had a female version and a male version for that. And you already know. They had a lot of fun with that. Or what's in your future? This is one I've used many times before. And for the last day of class, one last listening log, make a 2 or 3 minute video. And then I invited them to also say one last thing about the class. And oh my gosh, I was just crying by the end of those. The interns and I were all crying. And then one last thing, and then we can see if there's time for any more questions. on the last day of class, I always did this for homework. So I say homework for tomorrow, and then they say, wait, what? This is our last day of class. What do you mean homework for tomorrow? There's no class. There's no homework for tomorrow. So I say, class doesn't end here. Your English learning does not end here. Keep talking. Join a conversation group. Keep listening to anything, music, movies, blah, 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 right? Once we could be face-to-face again, try to eat lunch with people who speak a different language as you, so that you have to speak in English and you get more practice and you start thinking in English. Create cross-cultural friend groups and activities. And be the amazing people I know you are. All right. So please go ahead, and I don't know if we are out of time completely, but any takeaways that you have or any final questions? And I'm just going to quickly say thank you, Sipos. Gracias, shukran, sheshe, merci, danke, sulpeki. All right, and let me stop sharing. Any final questions, or what you're going to steal, what you're going to take and use?
I think, Laura, you have just, brought a variety of activities, and also just, different ways how the classroom assignments, how homework assignments could be designed. So this is very good. And I'm sure, all those who attended today's webinar, they enjoyed it very much, and they also hunted, for some tips for you, and they are going to take it away with them. So thank you very much. And it's just incredible that you just bring so many activities into the classroom and make the students so motivating and creative in a different way, using different cultural differences and taking into consideration their cultural background and their context as well, which makes your classes really engaging. And I'm sure you have a lot to share with many teachers around the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure always. Oh, can primary kids do this? You might have to really train them to how to make the videos, but once they can, I would say third graders, fourth graders, and older might be able to do that. Yeah, I think so. Certainly middle school age, 10, 11, 12, 13, I think they could do that for sure. Yeah. Right.
Yes, thank you very much, dear Laura. So yeah, and using this moment, I would like to say also a big thank you to all participants who joined our webinar today, and we also welcome all of the participants to join us tomorrow morning for the opening ceremony of the English Without Borders conference online. So Laura, you are also just part of our network as well, honor member of our network, and yeah, we will be very happy to see you as well. So wishing everybody to have a good evening and have a great day, Laura. So looking forward to seeing everybody on tomorrow's opening ceremony to the English Without Borders National Conference. Thank you, everybody. Stay well, safe, and see you soon. Bye-bye.